In your face, all over the place. We're online 24/7. 24/7. You're listening to the hottest internet station, WLMR DB Radio.
Thank you all for staying tuned each and every Sunday to listen to us and hear what's going on Speak Out Your Issue with Miss Show You Like Nadine and co-host Sabrina. We've had a beautiful week. We got a great topic, helping the abused. Whether the abused is children, human trafficking, special needs, elderly. That's going to be our topic today, helping the abused. And we do have a special guest coming in later on that would, give us some enlightenment and maybe some experiences. But we definitely, because he works in the community and he come across a lot of different people. So just get your thinking cap on if it's a loved one, family member that may have, most everybody know about someone getting abused, whether it's physically, mentally, spiritually. It's just going on and going on too much, more than it should. And again, helping the abused. Today, are they really getting help that will make a difference? And, there's going to be other questions that we're asking as well. Ms. Co-host, what do you think about today's society in helping the abused?
Well, you know how we go. We always have this awareness. And so it makes us, for me, and this is just me, I say if you really want to help, put in stricter laws. And what I've seen, it's almost if the abuse becomes the perp when it's time for them to go to court. Whether they try and defend themselves against an abuser, they wind up going to prison and the abuser walks free. So how do we as a society, as humans, defend ourselves against those that abuse us? I don't know if you remember the case about the 15-year-old young lady that stabbed the man that was raping her, and he had been raping her for some years, and she just got tired of it, and she stabbed him. They gave her life in prison. So
wow,
yeah, absolutely.
And the person who did it, and then the person who was, abusing her.
Exactly. 15 years of age. She's now, for the rest of her life, she's in prison. They gave her life.
Wow.
Wow. So these are topics and questions that you ask yourself. Like Arsenio Hall used to say, that makes you go,
Exactly.
So
exactly.
How do they fight back?
And it always becomes a question of you defending yourself.
Yes.
You're the one because, they died.
Yes.
Your word against theirs. And it, like you say, left to persecute you.
Absolutely.
When you've already been abused. And, of course, that's just like a lifelong thing because it's not stopping of her having to defend herself when she went to jail. So,
yes.
It's just a continuing path, and that was the reason why one of my questions on this topic is, are they really getting, help today?
Yes.
And keeping in mind, of course, again, helping the special needs, of course, human trafficked individuals, domestic violence, children. We have seen and have had on our show topics where even babies are being abused. Whether, we hear it all the time on the news where, babies are dying because they've been beaten too hard. Not only that, the sexual assault abuse,
Yes.
And of course the mental abuse. And they don't even know anything. All they know is they hurt and they're crying and lashing out. And it's getting younger and younger how they are being abused, whether it's physical, emotional, that's always in that because they're going to be getting cursed out and so forth. And again, over the last 5 to 10 years, has it gotten worse? I can say yes, because that's all you hear on the TV. Again, these are just questions, thought-provoking questions to ask yourself. And I know, we all know someone who has been abused. It used to be, domestic violence, and they start having laws on the books about that. Fast forward to today, it's Me Too is out about the abuse, in that sexual assault way, and it's still unfolding information in that area.
Absolutely.
But again, it's an epidemic here in America. And like I, asked the question, are they really getting help? And I know on one hand they are, based on the community outreach that I'm doing out here. But it's like a revolving door. Get help, not to the root, and you definitely got to want to help yourself, especially when you've been in a situation like that, and your mind is stuck on, why is it happening to me? Why people have to treat me this way? And you have to, be able to get yourself past why you're being abused. And I know, as co-host, you definitely have a nonprofit, and you're very passionate, about helping human trafficked individuals sexually assault, whether they are babies all the way up to over 100. Especially with the children. I know your target areas is with the children.
Absolutely.
And you've worked in that area. If you can enlighten us on some of the stuff that you've seen, and again, do you think they're really getting help, and do you think it's really gotten worse?
Let me tell you, me, excuse me, I like statistics. Yeah. And one of the things I want to say, as a community, we're no different. If I see another video on Facebook, on Twitter, where they are streaming abuse, as opposed to picking up the phone and calling the police, if I scream, it will probably be heard around the world. Okay. We as a society want justice, but we do nothing to aid injustice.
Right.
And so we think that it's easier to stream everything and put everything out on video as opposed to calling. I understand if there is an abuse by law enforcement. I understand if there's an injustice done by political affiliations, whatever the case may be. But when you're dealing with children, there's a need for us as a village to band together to stop this foolishness. And for me, I'm looking at the national statistics on child abuse. In 2016, an estimated 1,750 children died from abuse and neglect in the United States.
Can you repeat that number again?
1,750 children died. That means they are no longer, their little spirits their bodies are no longer here. Their little spirits are in heaven. They are no longer here. 1,750 children died from child abuse and neglect in the United States.
Wow.
Child advocacy centers around the country served more than 324,000 child abuse, providing victim advocacy and support to children and families. Nearly 700,000 children are abused in the United States yearly. That's a lot of babies.
Yes.
The youngest children were most vulnerable to maltreatment.
Right.
They had the highest rate. It says children in their first year of their life had the highest rate of victimization of 24.8 per 1,000 children in the national population. That's a lot of babies.
Oh, yeah.
In their first year, Miss Ali, come on. It's almost, you don't even have a chance of surviving when you're born.
Right.
Really? Yeah.
Wow. Yes. That's, you know, there's a lot of people in the world, and that's such a silent revolving door that's been going on,
yes.
You know, for a long time. And I really commend you and others who are out there, you know, shining the light, putting the light on,
yes.
and stopping this. And we all know that this has been going on for such a long time. It was a silent, like the elephant in the room.
Oh, wow.
But now people are speaking out.
Yes.
And because I think society as a whole have just gotten tired of it.
Exactly.
We're in a perplexed situation where we see a lot of the, you know, young people are so angry.
Yes.
And they're going out killing.
Yes.
And we, you know, that's a whole nother subject for a whole nother day, like they say. But you have to speak on what we're seeing.
Absolutely.
We're seeing that happening, and you're wondering where the anger is coming from. It could be that they've been sexually assaulted and don't want to tell anybody. It could be just being cursed out every day. Of course, that puts your self-esteem down. It allows you to, like, man, you know, and then it causes you to go act like that to someone else that someone else is doing to you.
Absolutely.
Of course, the National Domestic Violence Hotline, I'd just like to give that out. If anyone, like you say in the beginning, you see someone being abused, you turn your head away. But you can be an anonymous caller. Call the 800-799-7233 number and, you know, report that. This article that I was reading earlier, you know, it was from the National Hotline. Help a friend or family member. If you're concerned that someone is experiencing abuse, of course, you know, noticing things, noticing how their husband or wife, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the males, females are doing a lot these days, putting them down in front of other people. See, that's that emotional and mental abuse. You know, they are constantly worried about making their partner angry, just frantic about any little thing that they do, you know, don't want to get them angry, make excuses for their partner or husband behavior. They put it in the context of partner. And their partner is extremely jealous or possessive. They have unexplained marks or injuries. If you see a person with all this kind of behavior and marks on them, you know, definitely call that 800-799-7233 number. Again, they stop spending time with friends and family, and they're depressed or anxious, or you notice change in their personality. Of course, these are just some of the things that, you know, that I see, but, you know, when you ask a question, they get defensive toward you because you're reaching out and wanting, to help. And again, co-host, I know that you've worked in that, in that area before. If you have any suggestions or anything that you'd like to say in that reference, please do so.
Oh, absolutely. My thing is, like I say, I like to give the shock of the number first, and then tell you how to get help. So this is on the national statistics on child abuse, and literally anyone can go if you want to know the numbers. If you want to see the impact, go online. You can always Google it for the U.S. government statistics. Miss Ali, back in 2015, it did a statistic on child abuse. In 2015, they had 2/3 of children served. These were served, not the ones that were not reported, but the ones that were disclosed sexual abuse. That was 205,438 cases of reported.
That's a quarter of a million.
Reported.
Oh.
2/3, nearly 20% of the children served disclosed physical abuse. That's 60,897.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
And then they said of the alleged to have abused children, nearly a quarter were themselves children. Almost 40% were parent or caregivers of the victim, and fully 90% of alleged abusers were related in some way to the child. That is, yes. So it makes you wonder, these are a lot of children. My mind is blown at the numbers. I love the numbers. I love the statistics, because when you hear a number, it's more staggering when it tells you a percentage. Yes, I see the percentage, but I want to know, what does that percentage equate to? Break that number down.
Right.
Okay, so I want to impress upon everyone, if you see a child that is being abused, pick up the phone, dial 911. Stop turning your head. Stop turning up your radio because you hear a woman being abused by her husband or a child being abused by an adult. Don't turn up the radio. Pick up the phone. Don't try and drown out the screams of agony. Pick up the phone. You can do it anonymously. If you don't want the police to come knocking at your door when you hear the screaming, pick up the phone and call. Leave your house, go to the store, go down to your car, act like you don't know what's going on. I don't care. Pick up the phone. Save a life. Because I know you will want to do this for your own child. If your child was that one being abused, you would want someone to get involved and call for them. Looks like we have a caller, Miss Ali. I think this is our guest. Hold on one moment.
Okay. Sure.
Excuse me. Good afternoon. Oh, good evening. I'm sorry. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Hello. Good evening, everybody.
Hi. How are you, Mr. YT?
Good. I can't wait, man. I've been counting down the clock. I know I'm a little bit early.
Oh, that is okay. We really appreciate you wanting to be back on the show and sharing information with us. I'm sorry, co-host, but you wanted to say something else to him?
Yes, I was going to say we air you a couple of minutes early, I guess, and we were going to take a station break. But Miss Ali, if you want to keep charging forward, we can.
Well, hey, again, we really appreciate you willing to come back on. You shared great information about a month ago when you were on the station, and of course you were just eager when we said we would have this helping the abused topic to get on the station and share information I know that you're an author, radio station personality, and a lifelong coach. So we'd like for you to let our listeners know a little bit about yourself, and hey, you can chime in reference to the helping the abused information.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Well, basically, everything started in 1985, and I was 11 years old, and I'm very passionate about this subject that you guys are talking, because a lot of people, especially our age, things have happened in their past, and they just don't want to talk about it. But in 85, I was 11, and I was living with my mom at the time, and my father had just left. They had a very tumultuous marriage where dad would beat mom all the time, and and leave, and then when I started getting older and started looking like dad, mom got upset and started taking out some things on me because I looked like the man that used to beat her. Well, one particular summer in 1985, she needed a break from looking at her abuser's doppelganger, and said, I'm going to send you to camp. And I went to camp in the North Georgia mountains, and for my mom to get a break. And I was one of those small, quiet kids that never said anything. And I took a hold of a camp counselor. He was a strong minister. He was one of the leaders of the camp. And he taught me how to fish. He taught me how to build fires. He taught me how to canoe. And he knew my story, came from a broken home and abuse, and I trusted him. And on the last day at camp, he called me down to a cabin, and all the kids were getting on buses, and he called me down to a cabin, and I walked into the cabin. He closed the door, and that's when he raped me. And
Wow.
And I could not honestly believe what was going on. He forced me down, and I'm not going to go into too many details. I mean,
Right.
people can know what it is. But he said, don't fight this. This is what God wants. Just like the priest had me 30 years ago, now you belong to me. And if you ever tell anybody, God is everywhere. And if you say something, God will dispatch angels to kill you and your mom in your sleep. So this is a secret, and you can't say anything.
Right.
And for an 11-year-old little boy who was already broken, who was already shy, I was a mark. And a lot of sexual predators are very, very good at finding young marks. They look for the telltale signs of kids coming from disadvantaged backgrounds, kids coming from the abusive backgrounds, kids that don't have a strong foundation, who are showing that weakness, who are showing that longing for some kind of connection with someone to feel safe. And that's how the predators hone in on kids. And put it to you this way, after it happened, I didn't tell anyone, excuse me, for many, many years, but it was such a destructive force in my life where for moments I didn't realize, like who I was or what type of person I wanted to be. I didn't know anything. I just hated everyone, and I had to eventually grow out of that and learn to love God again and learn to love myself again, because everything I did was destructive. And it took many, many years, but it was a long process. Tried to kill myself twice. And, thank God I suck at killing myself. I tell you, man, I tried really good, though. I actually walked in traffic in downtown Atlanta, Peachtree Street, and traffic was running. I just closed my eyes, and this is when I was very, very young, and I just walked in traffic hoping that somebody hit me, and I got to the other side, turned around. There was some cars that was crashed, and the police were called, and everybody like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, I suck. I can't even kill myself right,
And at that age, I can imagine.
Yeah, so it was
down sparrow.
there was some things that needed to change in my life. Unfortunately, through God and through a bout of homelessness as a teenager, and getting through those tough times, especially sleeping on the streets and thinking that God does not love me. You know, he allowed me to get raped when I was a child. My father left. My mom, you know, she loves me, but, you know, she was abusive toward me. And now I'm sleeping on the streets, you know, at 18 years old. You know, where's God at? But, you know, so it was very, very challenging. But I will tell you this, ladies, that I started to learn who God was when I was on the streets. And I had just gotten robbed of my socks and my shoes by two other homeless people. They beat me up real, real bad. And I was laying on the street, ready to die. And a gentleman pulled up in a very nice old school classic Rolls Royce. He got out of the car. It was a short little Jewish guy. And he looked at me laying on the street. And he said, "Young man, are you cold?" And I'm like, "Duh, it's wintertime. Yeah, I'm cold." And he sat down next to me and he said that God loves me. And he took off his socks and his shoes and he put his Argyle socks on my feet and said, "God is going to cover your life like these socks are covering your life. And when you become a success, look back at how God has changed things for you. And whether you believe it or not, God is going to change your life. And after he does that, make sure you tell everybody that you know, because God changed my life." And at first I didn't get it, but as the time goes by and the older I get, that's why I'm passionate about helping people going through those darkness and feeling weak. Help is here. You don't have to go through this by yourself. God is going to send someone to help you. But once you get that help, it's up to you to know how strong you are. You don't have to carry this weakness in you for the rest of your life and allow it to destroy you. You can find strength through it, build yourself, and actively build others. And that's what this is about, ladies.
Absolutely.
Well, you know, I tell you, as you were going through the timeline of your situation, you really released a lot of good information for anyone who's gone through any kind of abuse, and especially children who may possibly, you know, get to listen to this, young adults who possibly get to listen to this station. You said a lot in a short time, and we really, really, really appreciate that, because, you know, it was encouraging, it was enlightening, and I know you also, you know, have your own nonprofit, do a lot of things in reference to helping those that, you know, relatively can't help themselves, or helping to uplift people. But we're going to take a station break, and we definitely don't want you to leave. We'll take a station break and be right back. And for you all out there, tell others to tune in every Sunday, 6 to 7, to WLMRradio.com, especially this Sunday, so you can be able to hear Mr. YG Night Storm. We'll be right back.
I invite everyone to tune in to Speak Out Your Issue with Miss Show You Right Nadine each and every Sunday from 6 to 7 p.m. Again, 6 to 7 p.m. I look forward to everyone tuning in to Speak Out Your Issue with Miss Show You Right Nadine, brought to you by WLMR Radio. Definitely download the radio so you can get in on this powerful hour. Again, tune in each Sunday with Speak Out Your Issue with Miss Show You Right Nadine. Look forward to hearing from you. And if you like to leave any messages or have any topics you'd like to tune in with us on, call us at 678-641-7135.
Do you want top-notch entertainment or Broadway plays for your event or establishment? Then see you need to hook up with Newham Carter Broadway Plays Promoters, LLC. Give them a call today at 470-776-0863. Your clients will be running back to your establishment when they see your next event is produced by Newham Carter Broadway Plays Promoters, LLC.
In your face, all over the place. We're online 24/7. 24/7. You're listening to the hottest internet station, WLMR DB Radio.
Again, thank you all for staying tuned in with Speak Out Your Issue today. And we have Mr. YG Nightstorm on. If you missed his, I would like to say, testimony, his story, his encouragement, his encouraging words within the last 10 minutes, make sure you tune in Sunday 6 to 7, WLMRradio.com, so you can hear. Because like we were off the air as we went on station break, I was letting them know it was just powerful, encouraging, and transcends to a person that have gone through that, whether it's been sexual abuse, physical abuse, mental, spiritual. We're here with him tonight. Mr. Nightstorm, if you can just let our audience and our listeners know some of the things that you do here out in the community. And just to, I guess, chime in, one of our questions after you've let people know how to get in contact with you and some of the stuff that you do, are they really getting help today? And over the last 5 and 10 years, has it gotten worse? But I'd like for you to first let our listeners know how they can get in contact with you, as well as some of the information about what you do in the community.
Sure, I'll be more than happy to. Well, it's really, really easy. You guys can go to nightstorm.com. That's Nightstorm with a Y, not an I. NYGHTSTORM.com, nightstorm.com. And you'll be able to see everything I do. By the time you finish watching that website, you're going to know everything you need to know about watching. Okay? But a lot of the things I do, I like to focus on uniting our community, just with everybody, because everybody carries brokenness. You know, it doesn't matter if you're white, black, Jew, Gentile, rich or poor. Everybody has their stuff. And particularly in my family, you know, the brokenness was generational. It was like a generational curse. You know, my mother was also, unfortunately, raped when she was young. You know, my grandmother was raped when she was young. And it seems like these curses that kept going through our family, it's the same thing with other families. It may not be sexual assault, but it could be abuse. It could be the mental illness. It could be the spiritual sickness. It could be alcoholism. It could be a number of things. But pain is pain. Hurt is hurt. And to be able to find the strength within yourself to say, I'm going to break this cycle. I'm going to be the one to break the chain, because it ends with me. I will not allow my children or another generation to have to go through this curse. It ends with me. And we all have that power within ourselves to do that. And so when I talk to people, when I do my speaking events around the country, I let people know the person that you look at in the mirror that you're so depressed about, that you hate sometimes, that you think is weak, that person right there is the one that's going to change your life. And once you ignite God into your life, that image that you see changes from the inside. It's like a spiritual explosion. And this ain't some huff and puff stuff. I'm just telling people about God. Right. This is what has changed my life. I'm only going to tell people what I know. Right. And once I started believing in God and allowing Him in and really focusing on my spiritual life and being rebuilt from within, then I found that inner strength to look at that person in the mirror and be like, that person is okay. that person is strong. That person can deal with whatever garbage this world wants to dump on them and take the trash out. And once I take the trash out, the trash ain't coming back.
See, and that's very powerful there. You do speak with youth.
Yes.
I know you said that you go around the country and around the world. And
I talk to everybody, anybody willing to listen.
I hear you. And if you could just give our audience and our listeners the information how they can contact you, because we have so many groups out here that, you know, are trying to help as well. If you can give them your information again. And Ms. Co-host, if you'd like to ask them any questions, please chime in.
Okay, yeah, one more time, guys. Nightstorm.com. That's NYGHTSTORM. Nightstorm.com.
Okay, yes, indeed.
Absolutely. And I was just, Miss Ali and I were just sharing, I'm a statistic person. And numbers, the numbers is what makes you realize, hey, we have an epidemic, we have a problem. It is growing, it's not getting any better. And the most powerful thing that I saw that really moved me was when our children stood up and said, enough is enough. We have a voice, we have something to say. And I think that goes the same thing for when you are younger and you're dealing with a situation that is beyond your control, that you have no knowledge of and you don't even understand the concept of. But one thing we as advocates that we do is let our children know you have a voice that you can control. Open your mouth. Get help. Speak to someone. And for me, Mr. YG, like yourself, I was abused. My abuse lasted for 8 years. I was afraid to speak. When I did, the person or persons that I spoke to didn't know how to respond. So they went back to the ones that were hurting me because they didn't know how to deal with that back in the day. And so now we have different outlets. We have opportunities that we can pick up a phone and call, and more people are being educated about it. But my question to you is, and I have been on your site for a minute. We were looking at many videos of all the things that you're doing. And I just have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
You became, and I want to applaud you because you became a product of change. You became that one in your family to say, no, the abuse stops with me. And so I did the same. I said, no, the abuse stopped with me. That's it. It's not going any further. Would not transcend to my children. So you yourself being that product of change, to anyone out there that is listening, how would you encourage them if they are going through that same thing? Whether they are an adult or a child that happens to be listening, what would you having the opportunity, what would you say to them right now on how to be that product of change?
Okay, well, first of all, I also want to commend you on your incredible journey as well on breaking that chain. Because, you know, your story of 8 years of abuse, unfortunately, is not unique. You know, a lot of us go through stuff like that, but you were able to be that product of change, and I want to commend you on that, ma'am. So God bless you on that one. But for anybody that's listening, you know, like I said, families aren't perfect. Okay? Nobody's perfect. We all got our stuff. And one thing that has been holding so many people back is that fear of somebody finding out. Okay, a lot of men carry it, you know, who've been abused. Oh my God, I can't talk about this stuff. Or women, you know, it's like a badge of shame that unfortunately some women have to wear. And children, they don't really understand what's going on, but they know something is wrong and this isn't right. And they may not know how to communicate. But I want to tell you, the way, and like I said, I'm going to tell you what I did. The best way you can do this is that when you look at that person in the mirror, you have to decide if you love that person that you see. Okay, this starts on the very deepest levels. And once you say, this person that I'm looking at is worth me speaking up for, is worth me standing up for. Because before you can stand up and defend anybody else, you have got to learn how to protect yourself. Before you can empower anybody else, you have got to learn to empower yourself. Because if you cannot do that, then you're no good to anyone, and the pain continues. So if you want to make it stop, then make it stop. And it starts by opening your mouth and speaking and getting and seeking the help you need. And if this person don't want to listen to you, fine. Then shout it out to somebody else. And if that person don't want to listen to you, fine. Then shout it to somebody else. But you seek the help that you need, and eventually that help will find you, and you will get through this.
Absolutely. Very well said. Yes.
Yes, and that person is yourself. And I'm an advocate of looking inside yourself and giving yourself praise so you can get through the day and the year and the months, okay? So that was put there well. I'm sorry, co-host. Was there something else you wanted to ask him before we go on the break?
Oh, no. I mean, that was very well said, and I commend you for that. And I often talk to Miss Ali, after I went through what I went through, I created these different characters so I wouldn't have to be Sabrina. And I had a character when I wanted to act like I had no home training. I had a character when I wanted to be ghetto. I had a character when I wanted to be bougie. I created all these characters so I wouldn't have to.
You weren't Cookie off Empire.
I was. Oh, yes. Cookie had nothing on me, let me tell you. And each one of them had a name. And I became that person. I created this persona and became that person because I did not want to be that child that was abused from age 8 up until age 16. I wanted to be anybody else to show that I had control because I felt that I had lost control. But when I stood in front of the mirror and doing my little prayer, every time I go before the Lord, I go with him with all these different characters. And I'm like, why you not hearing me, God? What's going on? And it wasn't until I stood there in that mirror and I had to face Sabrina. I had to introduce Sabrina back to Sabrina because I had no clue who Sabrina was. So every character had to be stripped away. Every part of me, that part that I had built up all these walls around because I didn't want to deal with that wounded soul, it had to be stripped away. And when I was down on the floor, nose running, eyes puffy, I was looking crazy as all get out. And that's when y'all said to me, okay, see this. From now on, this is who you bring to me. I want Sabrina. I don't want all these characters that you created and you come and stand before me and pretend to be. I want the real you. And that's how the healing had to begin, because a lot of times we don't want to go back to the hurt. We want to deal with the right now. But in order for you to be healed, you have to go back to where the hurt started. And then you stand there and you talk. I had many days in the mirror talking to Sabrina, trying to get Sabrina back, because pieces of Sabrina was all over. And I just felt empty. So I thank you for sharing that. And you're absolutely right. Oh, yeah. You have to motivate yourself. And I thank you and I applaud you for what you're doing. May y'all continue to give you the strength and the courage and the wisdom to face every obstacle and how to go around them, navigate through them, but also get to those that really need to hear from you.
I appreciate that. And the one thing about abusers, they are very good at convincing their victims that they are nothing and they are weak and they are useless. But that is a lie all day long. They are liars, they are deceitful, and there is no truth in them. And once, as you did, you can break past that and say to yourself, I am good enough. I am strong. And it's okay to be me, and I don't need other personalities to hide behind because I'm strong enough to deal with this issue and this person myself.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed. Well, definitely we will be going for a station break. And again, Mr. YG, always a pleasure having you on our show, and you can come back if you have. I think, I'm not for certain, do you have a book out?
Yes, I released a few books, but the latest one I wrote was called All Action, No Talk. You have the strength to change your life despite adversity. And that is the testimony of everybody that has gone through stuff. But guess what? It's time for action. Enough talk. Yeah. Let's get to it. Let's fix it. Let's change it. Let's empower you. And let's keep on going, because nothing on this earth can stop you once God got his hands on you.
Amen.
I'm just saying.
Amen.
Yeah, and I feel that's your passion coming from all of your experience. And again,
well, I got 7 kids. I got to do something.
Oh, wow.
Hey.
You got work to do, sir.
Back, right? And that's good. That's what we're supposed to do. We, again, really appreciate you coming on with us this day, and we will stay in touch, and you have a great week, and we will, audience, take a station break.
God bless you guys.
Thank you. You too, sir.
You.
Do you want top-notch entertainment or Broadway plays for your event or establishment? Then see you need to hook up with Newham Carter Broadway Plays Promoters, LLC. Give them a call today at 470-776-0863. Your clients will be running back to your establishment when they see your next event is produced by Newham Carter Broadway Plays Promoters, LLC.
I invite everyone to tune in to Speak Out Your Issue with Miss Show You Right Nadine each and every Sunday from 6 to 7 p.m. Again, 6 to 7 p.m. I look forward to everyone tuning in to Speak Out Your Issue with Miss Show You Right Nadine, brought to you by WLMR Radio. Definitely download the radio so you can get in on this powerful hour. Again, tune in each Sunday with Speak Out Your Issue with Miss Show You Right Nadine. Look forward to hearing from you. And if you like to leave any messages or have any topics you'd like to tune in with us on, call us at 678-641-7135.
In your face, all over the place. We're online 24/7. 24/7. You're listening to the hottest internet station, WLMR DB Radio.
Thank you all again for staying tuned in with Speak Out Your Issue with Miss Show You Right Nadine and Sabrina every week, every Sunday. We did have a powerful speaker and guest on our show tonight, and I hope you all took away information that was could be very helpful for you and someone else that you know may be facing abuse. Again, over the last 5 to 10 years, it's gotten worse. And of course, if we can have people to call in, definitely call in the 407-797-6017 number every Thursday, 8 to 9, and give us your issue. Give us the issue if you know someone tonight, because we have about, 10 more minutes or less, on the air tonight in reference to that. He referenced the child abuse, and I was looking at this site earlier today, healthyplace.com. You can jot it down, healthyplace.com, and just go out and look at what they say in reference to helping, how to help an abused child who discloses to you. And, they have videos that you can help. They mentioned remaining calm Reassure the child you believe them and that you are glad that they told you. Offer comfort. Tell the child you would help. Ensure the safety of both you and the child. Tell the child that you cannot keep this information secret. In many countries and states, this is the law. So report the child abuse to the authorities immediately. And that can be a touchy, situation. To help an abused child, you should not interrogate the child. Make the suggestion as to what happened. Act shocked, disguised, or doubtful, about the abuse. Of course, that they said can make the child uncomfortable and less likely to talk. Blaming the child, use words that may frighten the abused child, like rape, child abuse, or jail. And again, I'm reflecting back to you because I know you've worked in the line of duty with these kind of situations as co-host. So would you like to express any incidences that you've seen in the past, or any information that you know dealing with that?
Oh, yeah.
With other children.
Yeah, I mean, even though we know this happens, and I can say from working with victims of trafficking, working with victims of abuse, children of abuse, whether it is physical, mental, sexual, emotional, and you think, okay, yes, we have another case of abuse. But for some reason, every abuse case, although they are the same, they're totally different. Some children handle it differently from others in the way that they disassociate themselves from what happens to them and how they compartmentalize and how they deal with it. When they're younger, they may be distant from it, and then when they grow older, they're acting out, they just lose it. It's like their mind breaks. Or they grab a hold of it when they're younger, and when they get older, they become an advocate. They want to talk about it. They want to tell you what happened because they want to heal. And, I can say, Miss Ali, seriously, yeah, I think it has gotten worse. And a lot of it, I want to say that as hideous as these crimes are, you would think over the years that the law would be more stringent, that the law would be more, it would be a lot more harsh.
Yeah.
We've seen cases where men have sexually abused their daughters or a child to the point literally a child has to have surgery, hysterectomy, that case, and they will give them 4 to 5 years with probation. Put them on the list for a predator, sexual predator on their driver's license. They be listed as a sexual predator. While you now have a child that cannot have children of their own.
Wow.
You have a case where you had a 12-year-old that father had been molesting her since she was 6. And the judge gave him, from the time he was arrested up until the court date, the judge gave him time served.
Wow.
For 6 years of abuse. That
doesn't equate to what has happened.
It doesn't.
Wow.
So, you're thinking, okay, this here has got to, at some point, when are we as a nation going to take a responsibility? And the only reason, I think we talked about this before, and our resolve was the only reason why the laws are not as harsh as they should be is because it's those that are up in power that are making these laws and say, hey, I better, while I'm here, make these laws light, because if I get caught, I don't want to suffer because of a law that I enacted, because I have those proclivities. I have these loose morals. I have no self-control over myself, that I am attracted to a child. So just on the off chance I get arrested or found out about what I'm doing, I've already set a safety mechanism in place that I won't get as harsh time. And then I'm going to align myself with these like-minded individuals that feel the same way. So if it does happen, I'll wind up in their courtroom. And I won't be, and I mean, this is how it feels to me. When you go to court time after time after time, and you see these individuals get out and get off because of technicalities, or because the victims are too afraid to speak, or whatever the case may be. Right. So, has it gotten worse, Miss Ali? I really do think so. Over the last 5 to 10 years, you have so many children now that are being abused, and now they're killing them as opposed to just abusing them. They're killing them. You have grown men that are raping 4 or 5 month old babies and killing them. Yeah. Really. So it just talks to you about exactly. Right. It just talks to you about the mindset.
Right,
and I was telling you about the young lady that I met, and she was talking about a charity that she had gone to, when one of the speakers was a doctor. And he stood up at the podium and he slammed his hand down on the podium and he says, "Let me tell you how my day went yesterday. I treated a 3-year-old child for a venereal disease. Treated in the emergency room. A 3-year-old child with VD."
Wow.
So, at what point are we going to take a responsibility? And how many more children have to die and become martyrs for a twisted mind?
Right. And with everything being out, and I really appreciate you sharing that, and I knew you would have some enlightenment simply because you worked in that line of duty before. I know, like we were saying, it's all out. We're, having Speak Out Your Issues so people can be aware and learn that this stuff is going on, because most of the time it's not being talked about. We see stuff constantly unfolding on the TV. Everything's just all out today, and it's having people's minds going all kinds of ways. But they, like they say, true to the grind of doing the right thing, reporting if you see, and especially the harm that is being done to our children. Why do that? Absolutely. Where is our future going to be if they constantly killing them? 250,000 children, being hurt, harmed, and put in danger. That's why, right today, we wonder why a lot of them don't even want to do the way, if everything's normally done. Before we get ready to go off the air, I know I wanted to share with everyone womenshealth.gov. Definitely go to that website. It's about domestic violence and all kinds of help that's on that website. Again, women's with the S, health.gov, or you can call 800-994-9662. I know we mentioned and we were talking about the sexual assault, sexual abuse on children. Of course, it happens in all ages or with all ages. Are they really getting help? On one hand, they are. but to the real root and to stay the course in making sure that, they have transformed from being depressed and so forth. Our guest was a prime example. Our co-host was a prime example that you don't have to stay where you were, and to love on self. I know that we didn't chime in on the special needs. It's there as well, and it's definitely the human trafficking. That's going to be coming up next month, I think, the human trafficking. Or is it? Yeah, I think it's next month. But by all means, violence on anyone needs to stop, and stop playing games. As co-host, I know it's time for us to go off the air. It always goes so quickly.
I know, already. Well, family, we want to say to you, when you know your value, no one can diminish your worth.
So true, and I really appreciate you always saying that, because that could be someone that's listening to our show, and it really heightened them. And I know this show will transcend into a lot of people's minds. Again, stay in tune each and every week, 6 to 7, every Sunday, Eastern Standard Time, WLMRradio.com, to speak out your issue with me, Show You Right, Nadine and Sabrina. You all have a great week. Take care. And make sure you do something if you see something, okay?
Absolutely.
Take care. Until next Sunday.